Well, hopefully we'll have everybody catching up. I've got about 3 more stragglers to come. And here's one of them, so that's good. So today's broadcast is about protecting your brand on the internet and by thinking security and what happens to your business if your website is hacked or your domain is stolen or your social media handle is compromised, and the types of things we already see happening regularly and how you can avoid them happening to your business. Just waiting for a couple more people to turn up and we should be right to go. Give them another 30 seconds and we'll keep going. How often have some of your friends actually told you that their Facebook handle has been compromised and don't accept any invitations from my Facebook because it's been hacked? This type of thing. It's bad for a person, but it can be absolutely catastrophic for a business. We've seen a number of businesses who have had a problem with their Twitter handle being hacked or their website being compromised and surfing up malware to all of their people who visit it. So what we're going to do now is, okay, welcome to everybody, protecting your brand on the internet by thinking security. And we're going to talk about what would happen if your business website was hacked or your domain was stolen or your social media handle was compromised. So I'm just going to flick my screen across to what's on the other screen and present it to everybody, and we're right to go. Okay. So what will happen if your website is compromised? Bit of a technical glitch here, but we will get through it. Okay, we live, work, socialize. Everything that we do is in the digital world in today's world. And there are some aspects of the digital world that are totally alien and very hard for people to understand. One of the biggest problems we've got is actually getting people to understand that what happens in the digital world is a totally different realm to what happens in the real world. And yes, there are similarities that we can handle, but there are totally different ways of doing things, and it makes it very hard for people like me to try and educate people like everybody else, because we are in a situation where what we say is usually construed of, oh, we're trying to get money, or we're trying to make it hard or difficult and make things not work the way they're supposed to. And when we're coming up to that, we are then looking at making sure that advice is adhered to as well as possible. So what we're going to talk about today is, what is brand security? Okay, what is your brand security? Why is your brand security so important? The internet, domains and handles, and why they become such an integral part of what you're doing. The importance of being visible as a business so that people will actually know where you are. Why it's important to access your website regularly. Why Google, the overruling Google, is so important, and what you can do to protect your brand. So what is brand security? Well, brand security is making sure that our brand, our representation in the digital world is safe, secure, and can't be construed as something that it really isn't. So to make our brand really stand out, we have to do a large number of things. But by doing those things, we then start compromising the security, and we need to increase the awareness of what is out there. So in today's world, everything is reliant on the digital world. We're quite happy to give that information away. We're quite happy to tell everybody where we're going, what we're doing, what our business is doing, giving away IP, giving away really important information. And we don't realize how important that information is until it starts coming back to us as either something has been made by someone else, or information that's been delivered by someone else. that you know that you produced or gave to that person a couple of weeks, couple of months, couple of years before that happened. So what we're going to do is have a look at how that brand and how a negative brand awareness can be a problem. Because if you start getting a reputation that every time someone visits your website, they are delivered malware, or every time that someone sees a tweet from you, it's abusing some group of people, or every time that you get on Facebook, you're posting inappropriate pictures, then the brand that you are representing is really going to go downhill really fast. So we have to make sure that our brand is as squeaky clean as we can make it. So this is why brand security is so important, because if we do brand as a extension of who you are, then we build trust. People trust us to know what we're talking about. People trust us to know what they are understanding about the rest of the world. You're building trust. So when the people come to you, they get the right advice, they get the right information. Your information is current. So all of that information is really important. The other thing to do is we're trying to deliver information to the internet. So we're making sure that the information that we're putting up there is fresh, it's being used, it can be done in a number of ways. So in other words, if we're putting a video up for Facebook or YouTube, then we know that content is going to be viewed and used as much as possible. So business to business awareness is also a really, really important part of making my business more trustworthy. So if I have information that I want to give to another business, if they come to my website or they're doing a search, and we'll talk about Google search later on, if they come to my website and have a look at the information that I have, they want to have the information, and that information is relevant to what they're looking for. The trouble is, the internet is a vast environment. And we have a little piece of real estate. We have domains and we have handles. Now, the reason I've separated into domains and handles, domains are something you hang on to. They are your responsibility. But usually a handle, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, all of these things are handles, and you are renting property on those platforms. Because what we have to do is make sure that the real estate that we've got out there is actually doing what we want it to do. Now, by doing that, we are making sure that if someone searches for R&I Consulting, they're going to get .com, they're going to get .com.au. They're going to actually have that information readily available. And we can actually then use that in our marketing and other types of paraphernalia for when we go out there in the real world. But it's so important that we make sure that we're capturing the domains properly. For instance, if I had a group.com, group.com.au, .org, group.it, all of these things are related to group. And if you haven't captured that information, or someone else has got that, or we have a problem with things like phishing, and I'll go into that just now, those two email addresses look exactly the same. And I can tell you they're not, because what this has come from a recent attack on a client that we had. And what happened is, if you have a look at the bottom one, CEO@group.com looks exactly like CEOQROUP.com. Now, as a whaling attack inside an organization, this information could really hurt an organization in a rather large level. And by doing that, it makes it very important that you protect your domains. In addition, we have other components. If you have a domain, have you got an abuse email or a postmaster email or a webmaster email? There's about 10 different email addresses that are used by the internet to make sure that if someone has a problem, that they can contact you. If your website is serving malware, then you will probably get an email to your webmaster address saying exactly that, because people will try to tell you that something is happening. So all of these email addresses need to be on an alias of someone inside the organization. And then we're all important about making sure that we are visible. Because in today's world, if I have a website and it's a static website, nobody's going to go there. Nobody's going to be interested in what I'm putting out there unless I am doing it regularly. So content is really important. Whether you're doing blogs, whether you're doing videos, whether you're doing audios, whether you're doing anything like that, you need to have content on your website. And this again creates other problems for making sure that you are secure in what you're doing. And it all comes down to making sure that your marketing is working as well. Now, platforms you need to handle. Platforms are Facebook, Twitter. And by doing and having control of that handle doesn't necessarily mean that you have control of the platform. Twitter could close down tomorrow, and all those people who are using Twitter as a marketing platform will find themselves in a really large area that is not very nice for anybody. The other thing is, a website we own. Fair enough, it might be hosted on a platform somewhere else, but all of the information that you put on that website is now important to a level where you have total control over it. If you don't want to put something up there, you don't have to. If you want to put something up there and then go to your platforms and funnel everybody in to read your comments or watch your videos, then that's how you do it. But you make sure that both platforms are as secure as possible and your website is as secure as possible. So your website has a number of things that we need to look at. One is you need to visit and test your website regularly. So you need to make sure that when you visit a page that it's going to render properly. And pieces of it are not going to disappear or not show up because something has changed in the background. This goes for forms and pages not working properly as well, because there's nothing worse than going to a website that you know has got the information that you want and find out that it's been removed or it's been changed or you can no longer get at it because someone has changed something in the background. You need to log on regularly. Log on to your website. In other words, bring up the home page. Have a look and see that everything is rendering properly. And the last one is you need to make sure that you're doing updates regularly. Now, updates are just as important as what we update on our computers, on our phones, on our smart devices. They are systems that need to be done all the time because it is one of the components that keeps you secure. Now, we all know Google, but Google is very important for a large number of other reasons. Yes, it's great to search for content when you put it up there, or use SEO, so search engine optimization, to get our information up there so that when Johnny types in a search phrase, it will come up and show your page. But there are other components of Google that are really important. As an advertising platform, it is cost efficient and it is very, very effective. It also allows you to target your advertising, which is something that hadn't been done before. Yes, you can get a radio ad, but if you wanted to go international, then that was a lot of money that you had to spend. If I wanted to do an international marketing campaign now, I get onto Google, I can create my own adverts, I can actually push it out to anywhere who has an international connection. I just have to make sure that the search engine optimization or the click to pay components are working to my requirements. And also the algorithm. Now, we all know that Google has this huge algorithm that works out what's fresh, what's content, what's good stuff, what's bad stuff. What other part of the algorithm is noticeable is how you get on that front page. So you have to have all of these components in place. There was a change to the algorithm about 18 months ago that took people who were on the top of page 1 all the way down to 20 or 30 pages down below, because the algorithm has changed. So those people then had to do a large amount of work, spend a lot of money to get themselves back on page 1. So how do we protect our brand? And protecting our brand is really, really important, especially in the digital world. One of the things you've got to understand is you have to trust no one. You're trying to build trust so people will come to you and they trust you, but you never trust anybody who's coming to you, because you don't know who they are, you don't know what they are, you don't know what they can do to you. So trusting no one is one of the tenets of what we now teach as digital and business security. You need to update everything. If we have a requirement to update things, then we need to make sure that the updates go through as fast as possible, as regular as possible, because as things are discovered and as the hackers discover ways to get into the system, then from there, we then have a position where those compromised systems can be helped by updating their software. We also have to understand the basics. Now, the basics for a website are relatively important as well. We all know that we have to have passwords. Now, we've come across websites that have been set up on WordPress that have a blank password, or they have password as password. And people don't see how important it is, the fact that passwords are literally your passport to the digital world. And that's what makes them so important. Firewalls are also important. Now, there's two components to a web-based firewall. One is on the system itself to make sure that there's no other traffic hitting the system, and also firewalls on where you're connecting from to make sure that you're always protected. Antivirus is another thing about the basics that need to be out there. The basics of antivirus, they will catch most of the problems, and you can get antivirus plugins for websites. You can actually set them up in HTML properly and all of these type of things as well. The fourth one is education. As I said before, the internet, the digital world is a huge environment. By being a huge environment, not many people understand how it all works. So you have to educate yourself to making sure that you are secure and safe when you are on the internet itself. And make sure that you're backing it up. If you've got 2,500 pages on a website and the website server crashes, then you have just lost 2,500 pages of really critical information. It may even be your marketing platform, it may even be your sales platform. All of these things then become a really big problem because you haven't got a backup, and you relied on the backup coming through from maybe the people who are supplying it. The other thing about websites is, if possible, use certificates. Google is now pushing this as much as possible by making sure that if you go to a website, www, then the first components of it are a certificate. And that certificate makes it an HTTPS, which encrypts all the information between keyboard and back end. Very important. Now, you have to build trust with your customers. And one of the ways you can do this is actually with your security components. You can tell them what your policies are. This is what we do to our system. You can tell them what procedures you use. Okay, to do this, we have done this, so that people understand how much more secure you are than your competitors and from other people who are serving the same information. And if you have certification, for instance, if you use Symantec's Safe website, use it and show it. So people, when they come to you, are of the opinion that what you're telling them is really, really important. And if you can, and if you can afford it, move your digital real estate to HTTPS. Purchase a certificate. You can now get GoDaddy certificates for $5 for 12 months. It's not a large investment anymore. It used to be $2,000 or $3,000 to get an HTTPS certificate. Now it is relatively cheap. So, more information. I have a number of books out if you're really interested. This one over here, The Basics of Business Security Information, if you go to that link, you can actually download it for free, and it'll stay free for a while. I'm just in the process of updating it to the newest version. Cybercrime, a clear and present danger. Yes, you have to pay for that. and I've lost my mouse. We run regular webinars, and we also do regular seminars. So if you're interested in that type of thing, then it's probably, and if you want to follow us or catch up with us, those are the contact details that we have available. SMA Security, we're regularly posting on Twitter, we're on LinkedIn, we're on Google Plus, where this is going as well. We're on Facebook, and we're on YouTube. If you really want to contact us, you can actually fill in the form on the website. And as I said, seminars and webinars, we do webinars on Google Hangouts. I'm not sure if that's going to change when the Google changes their system, but we do regular seminars concerning bringing organizations up to a level where they're being protected. Now, if there's any questions, then please just flick us a question. But if everybody is happy, then I will close this webinar. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. See you in 2 weeks' time.